All right, if we can have your attention here in the media center, we'll kick off our post-race media availabilities here for the House 225 here at Chicagoland Speedway with Christopher Bell, driver of the number 4 Sirius XM Toyota. Christopher Bell is our regular season NASCAR Camping World Truck Series champion. Christopher, can you just talk about what it means to be the regular season champion here?
Oh, it's really cool. To be able to win the regular season championship is a huge credit to everybody at Calvish Motorsports, Rudy, everybody on this number 4 team. They work really hard, and year in and year out, it doesn't matter who the driver of this truck is, they always go good. For us, it's huge to have all the bonus points going into the playoffs. I feel like last year the 4 truck was once again the truck to beat, or the 9 truck last year was the truck for the championship, and unfortunately they lost a motor at Phoenix that ended their hopes. So hopefully this cushion will bridge our gap to where we can afford a mistake or mechanical failure or something like that and help us get us to Homestead.
Great. With that, we'll open up for questions. If you have questions for Christopher, please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. Any questions here in the deadline room? We'll go in the back to Jerry first.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. A question: you get 15 extra bonus points, but there's how many races are there in your rounds, in the finals rounds for y'all?
I think it's 2-2 or 3-3, and then the final.
3-3. So statistically, you actually have a better lead than the 15 points, say, in the Xfinity or the Cup Series. Would that pan out to be a bigger benefit for you?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get a bigger gap of your competitors is a huge advantage, and especially guys that are in the lower half of the championship grid. The 21 is going to make it to Homestead. The 29 is looking like he's going to make it to Homestead. But, the guys that are further on down the list, we've got a huge gap over them. So if we do have a bad race at Talladega or Martinsville or someplace where there's a lot of unknowns, then hopefully our gap will be able to help us, get there. And thankfully with the truck deal, it's really tight getting into the chase. There's only 8 spots. But once you're in the chase, you only drop 2 and then 2 more. So you just got to kind of, at least through this first round, we've got such a big gap that we should just be able to maintain and be smart, race smart, not make mistakes, and be there, and then go from there in the second round.
Any additional questions here for Christopher? Christopher, thank you, and good luck in the playoffs.
Thanks.
All right, we'll continue with our post-race media availabilities here for the House 225 here at Chicagoland Speedway. We are now joined by our race-winning crew chief, Joe Shear Jr., and Spencer Gallagher, family of the owner, Maurice Gallagher Jr. Joe, can you just talk about what it means to get a win here at Chicago?
Oh, it's really big. This is the time that you need to get your momentum going, and you work, this whole season to build your inventory, get your best pieces, your best setups, and come into this race for the 1.5 miles and get your momentum going and carry it through the playoffs.
Great. Spencer, you want to talk about what this means for GMS Racing?
I think this is the start of another championship contention out of the 21 crew. We saw this kind of momentum start building around this time last year in that playoff series, and I think going into this one, it's I think we sent a clear message out that GMS Racing is here to contend for and win this championship. That was a Brandhammer new GMS fabrication chassis that won tonight, chassis 301, and I think it was a great demonstration of what we're building, how hard we're working to win these races, and what we can do.
Outstanding. With that, we'll open up for questions. Start in the front here with Lee.
Joe, were you worried when Johnny got in the back of the 27?
A little bit, but I seen it kind of right in front of me, and I didn't think it was that bad. He was a little worried about it, but we looked at it, and the times were still there. So, and the spotter said there wasn't a scratch on it, so we just kept going. Wasn't much I can do at that time. You're welcome.
Any additional questions for our race-winning team here tonight? Jerry, in the back.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. Spencer, for your organization, do you tackle this any differently than you did last year, going for a second championship here? And what does that say about the organization to be able to be in that position?
You know, I don't know if you tackle it differently in particular. I think the big thing that changes going into this playoff series 2017 is we got a championship trophy to look at every time we walk in the front door of GMS Racing from last year, and I think that's the big difference maker. It's such a huge confidence builder to know that we started off the playoff run last year in much the same fashion, really picking up momentum, and it's beginning again. So, you know, we as an organization know we can do this. We know we've definitely got the driver and Johnny Sauter and the crew chief and Joe Shear. And it's knuckle down time. It's time to go win this championship and bring home 2 in a row. So I think nothing really changes. We just know we can do it, so we're going to go out and do it.
Any additional questions for our group here? Gentlemen, thank you. Good luck in the playoffs. All right, we'll keep it going here with our post-race media availabilities for the House 225 here at Chicagoland Speedway. We're now joined by our second-place finisher, Chase Briscoe, driver of the number 29 Cooper Standard Ford. Chase, you're in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series playoffs. Can you just talk us through your season and what it means to be in the playoffs here?
Yeah, overall, I feel like it's been a really up and down season. Felt like we've had speed, but just we either run top 5 or it seems like we're running 11th and 12th, and just haven't been able to really put a full year together on my end, and just haven't been able to finish the races. So I feel like we have the speed at a good majority of the racetracks all year long. Just haven't been able to capitalize when we have had the really good speed. So overall, I feel like it's been a really good season. I feel like we could have definitely had a couple wins, and definitely we're inching close to a couple of them there in Texas. But overall, looking really forward to the playoffs. Feel like we have some really good racetracks coming up. And we have speed right now, so that's key, I think.
Outstanding. With that, we'll open it up for questions. If you have a question for Trace, please raise your hand. We'll go to Chris and then to Lee.
Chris Knight, CatchFans.com. Chase, do you have to win a race to make the Homestead Final Four?
I feel like the first round, you're not going to race your way in, you're going to race your way out of it. And then the second round, I feel like Bell and Sauter are pretty much a lock. So I feel like it really just depends on who wins one of those 3 races. I think, obviously, I feel like the 4 cars are probably going to, or, there's 5 guys I feel like going for it between Sauter, Bell, Kraft, and me, and John Hunter. So, obviously, one of us is going to have to go out before Homestead, but I don't know if you necessarily have to win a race. I think it just is going to depend on who does win those 3.
Bell said he expects you to be in the Final Four with him and Homestead.
Yeah, I feel like, if it's anything like tonight, I feel like me, Bell, and Sauter are definitely really good. And I feel like as a company, BKR has always been really, really fast at Homestead. And I feel like that'll be one place that I feel like will fit my driving style. So hopefully we can get there. And if we do, I feel like it's going to be a heck of a race.
Lee, go ahead.
Lee, SpencerMotorsport.com. After just having 1 year on asphalt and, pretty much stock cars and then going to a truck, what do you attribute to your pretty much meteoric rise? Because, no, you haven't won yet, but you've really acclimated quickly to stock car racing.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. Part of it's you got to be in really good race cars. And obviously last year at Cunningham, I was in the best. And at BKR, we're in really, really good race trucks too. And you're only as good as the equipment you're sitting in. So obviously I'm in the best there too. And honestly, I didn't ever feel like I was a very good dirt driver. And I always felt like I would be better on the pavement. And I don't feel like I'm that great. Otherwise, I feel like I would have won this year. But I feel like I'm definitely a better pavement driver than a dirt driver, and just something I think that fits my driving style is how you got to back the corner up and whatnot. And I typically like a looser race car, and I feel like that's fast on the pavement.
And have you figured out your plans for next season?
No, not yet. I have a couple of meetings this weekend, so obviously a win would have helped that a lot. But I think a second obviously should help a little bit, but no, not yet.
Can you see Briggs coming into the truck series next year?
I don't know. I know that they have 2 trucks sitting there that they bought at the beginning of the year, so I would say that's a possibility. But I don't want to speak for Briggs, but I do know that there's 2 trucks sitting there at the shop ready to go. But I think it really is just going to depend on the spec motor deal, honestly. Thank you.
We'll go to Bob in the back.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN. Chase, is there any concern that, with the team closing at the end of the year, that you may not have the top of the line equipment, that if there's something that you need, that they're just not going to get it?
No, absolutely not. I feel like, we announced that we're shutting down and Austin wins last weekend and we had speed this weekend. So I feel like Brad's made it pretty clear before I even signed that he's always wanted a championship as an owner. And, I think he's committed 100%. And I think all the guys at the shop are committed 100%. I know I don't have any worries whatsoever about if we're going to start bringing lesser equipment by any means. I think tonight and last week showed that we're still bringing everything we got and still putting as many resources as we can into it.
Any additional questions here for Chase? Chase, thank you. Good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you.
All right, if I can have your attention here in the media center, we are now joined by our race winner, Johnny Sauter, driver of the number 21 ISM Connect Chevrolet. Johnny, you're in the playoffs. You won today. Can you talk about what all that means to you?
That's good. Tonight was a pivotal night for us, I think. Obviously, as a company, GMS, this was a brand new truck that we ran earlier in the year at Iowa, and GMS fabrication, all in-house stuff, and we kind of put it on jack stands until tonight just to see where we were, because we were so happy with it at Iowa. So our ISM Connect Chevy was awesome tonight. We tried to win that first stage, and I blew it on the restart. I spun the tires, and I don't even know how we finished second in that deal, but needless to say, we lost a lot of track position, was able to drive back to the top 5, and then I got another bad restart, and guys were kind of all over the place, and I elected to just let things work themselves out instead of trying to force the issue, and then Crafton got really loose down there in 3 and 4, and I thought, this is really bad. We're losing a lot of track position here, but we were able to drive back to 3rd, I think it was, and then had a pretty decent pit stop. Last restart was a pretty good one, and just was able to dog the Ford truck until he got loose, made a mistake, and capitalize on it. So just proud of everybody at GMS, Chevrolet, Hendrick Horsepower. This is a good night.
Terrific. With that, we will open it up for questions. If you have a question for Johnny, please raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. We'll start.
No Cardinal fans allowed, sorry.
Wow.
What are they, 2 games back or 3 games back?
I think
Oh, 4?
it was ugly.
They still got 7 games left with the Brewers, and they own the Brewers, so
We'll see.
yeah.
Back to your big night.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Didn't mean to get off topic.
Talk about, going back to your night, when Spencer was in here, he said he and Joe both said it looks a lot like last year. You kind of get that feeling going into the playoffs that you're just bringing all kinds of momentum in at the right time.
Sure. I mean, I feel, after the race of Canada, when one of them young punks called me an old POS, I was pretty motivated and very motivated because the next morning I was on the treadmill running as fast as I could and as hard as I could, lifting weights. And my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, don't worry about it." So I feel like, we need to do what we got to do to win races. And, I don't like being called names. So highly motivated, and we just got to get it done, win races.
What triggered the little nudge with the chrome horn?
Which time? You got to be more specific.
There was more than one. I only saw the one with the 27.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just racing. It's contact sport, and, sometimes you get motivated by people like that. So, not that I need motivation, but it's just an exclamation point tonight. But we got a tough road to hoe. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Obviously, Christopher Bell's had a great season, and Crafton's obviously a veteran, 2-time champion. So, we got our work cut out for us, but I can't think of better racetracks coming up for us. We just got to execute and race hard and be smart and do what we need to do. But to compare it to last year, I don't want to compare it to last year, honestly. I feel like this is a totally different deal because everybody's experienced the playoff once. So we all got a little bit more experience with it. So if we think we're going to do what we did last year, I don't think that's going to be good enough. So, or circumstances aren't going to work out that way. So we just got to work hard. Yep.
Bob, go ahead.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. Do you feel like the favorite, considering you're the defending champ, or do you think Bell's the favorite, considering the season he's had?
Boy, with 7 races to go, I can't think of anybody that's a favorite, honestly. I wouldn't consider us a favorite. I wouldn't consider him a favorite. You know, there's just so many things that can happen. Me personally, sitting here, I can't think of a better group of racetracks for me as a driver to go to try to chase 2 in a row. You know, Crafton's a veteran. I mean, you can't count him out. And some of the other guys that made it, I'm not even exactly sure who all made it, but yeah, Christopher somebody, I can't remember his last name. He was pointing at himself. Oh, his back of his fire suit says Bell. No, but you know, I got to believe with the seasons we've had, I feel like we got a lot of momentum on our side. I think Christopher's had a flawless season so far, really good. But you know, like last year, I don't think anybody in here would have counted us as the championship favorites with the season we had. We just got hot at the right time. So maybe there's somebody lurking in the weeds, you know, that nobody's even thinking about. So I just know that you have to race your heart and soul out, and you know, things are either going to work out or they're not. And you know, you got to have a little bit of luck, but we got to be hitting on all 8 cylinders coming down the stretch.
And I had a follow up. You were talking about this truck being built all by GMS. I'm just confused. Have you guys not been? Have they all been old trucks that you've purchased before this one?
No, GMS Fabrication has built a lot of trucks, and that's what we've been racing. But this was our latest piece, and it's what I consider fundamentally different. You know, and we build a lot of customer work, and so we you know, as a whole, everybody knows you got to constantly evolve and get better, and this was the next step. So that's spearheaded by Barry and Tom Ackerman and the guys at the shop. So you know, we had this truck for a couple months, but you know, GMS, we build all our own stuff in house, chassis, bodies, everything. Obviously, we have Hendrick horsepower, but you know, just working hard. I mean, that's what it takes.
Chris, go ahead.
Chris Knight, GetJones.com. Johnny, earlier in the race, Ben Rhodes' crew chief, Andy Tricona, said, chill out, don't beep with Johnny Sauter. Like you can fill in the blanks of what he was trying to say there. But do you feel like that you're, I don't know if the word bad boy is the word I'm looking for, but do you feel like that you're the persona where you're someone that you're not to toy with when you're racing out in the truck series, especially when it comes to a championship?
Yeah, I mean, how do I answer this? I mean, I'm at a point in my career where, not to sound arrogant or ignorant, but you mess with the bull, you get the horn, so to speak. And I'm at a different point. Like, you know, if somebody wants to go toe-to-toe, like, I don't care. Let's go. I mean, that's how I feel. And if Ben Rhodes wants a piece of it, let's go.
Any additional questions for Johnny? Johnny, congratulations and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.